Eli's heart raced as the shuttle landed on the floating campus of the Zalcor Institute, a school famous across galaxies for teaching alien species. He had imagined this day 1,000 times. Humans were rare in this academy, and most aliens thought them weak and unprepared. He adjusted his small backpack nervously, clutching it tight as he stepped onto the gleaming platform. The academy was unlike anything Eli had ever seen. Buildings floated in midair, connected by glowing bridges, and creatures of all shapes and sizes walked or sometimes flew around him. Some had forearms, others had wings, and a few had eyes that shimmered like crystals. The air buzzed with unfamiliar sounds, alien languages, and the faint scent of strange plants. "Stay calm, Eli," he whispered to himself. "Just be yourself." He made his way toward the main hall, where students gathered for the first day. Introduction. At the entrance, a tall alien with smooth green skin and long tentacles welcomed the new arrivals. "Greetings, newcomers," the alien said in a voice that vibrated like a soft drum. "I am Professor Zirak. Humans, you may stand. At the front. You will be the rare species here, so we will watch you closely." Eli felt every alien eye turn toward him. Some eyes widened in curiosity, others narrowed in doubt. He could hear whispers behind him, aliens muttering about how humans were weak, fragile, and inexperienced. His stomach twisted, but he straightened his back and took a deep breath. After the introductions, the students were told about the first assignment. Each student must bring a predator companion to the showcase. The creature must demonstrate the student's understanding of biology, strategy, and combat skills. Eli froze. "Predator," he thought. All the alien students began whispering excitedly to each other. Some of them had already brought massive beasts in cages or on leashes. One student, a reptilian creature with red scales, dragged a sharp-clawed predator that hissed and bared its fangs. Another, a bird-like alien, had a sleek flying creature circling its head with razor-sharp talons. The hall seemed to tremble with the power of these companions. Eli's heart sank. He had a cat, a small gray domestic cat named Milo. The cat had soft fur, big green eyes, and tiny claws. Not exactly what any alien would call a predator. He had trained Milo to follow commands and react quickly, but compared to these beasts, the cat seemed fragile and harmless. "Come on, Milo," Eli whispered, stroking the cat's head as it peeked out of his backpack. "We can do this." When the teacher called everyone to the demonstration stage, Eli stepped forward hesitantly. The alien student snickered as he opened his backpack, revealing Milo. The cat stretched lazily and yawned, completely unaware of the gasps and murmurs around them. "Is that your predator?" a tall insect-like student asked, raising multiple antennae in disbelief. "Yes," Eli replied, trying to sound confident. "This is Milo." The hall erupted in laughter. Aliens whispered to each other, pointing and shaking their heads. The cat looked up at Eli, blinked slowly, and let out a soft, polite meow. Professor Zirak raised a tentacle to silence the room. "We shall see," he said, his voice calm but curious. "Each predator will demonstrate its skills. Let us begin with the human's companion." Eli took a deep breath. He had rehearsed this 100 times in his mind, but now, standing in front of the most advanced creatures in the galaxy, the nerves returned. "Milo," he said softly, "show them what you can do." The cat leaped gracefully onto the platform. The alien audience leaned forward, expecting nothing. Eli started with simple commands: sit, jump, and follow his hand gestures. Milo performed perfectly, but that was only the beginning. Suddenly, an alien student with a massive wolf-like predator growled and lunged at a mechanical target. The cat's ears twitched. Without hesitation, Milo darted to the side, rolling and dodging in a flash of gray fur. He jumped onto the target stand, pressed the lever with his tiny paw, and sent the mechanical opponent stumbling backward. The hall fell silent. "Impressive," Eli said quietly, smiling. Milo glanced at him, tail flicking with satisfaction. The alien students exchanged shocked glances. Some of their so-called predators were huge, strong, and terrifying, but most lacked Milo's quick thinking and agility. While the larger creatures relied only on strength, the cat relied on strategy, timing, and instinct. Professor Xerak's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "Interesting," he murmured. "The human may have underestimated his companion, but perhaps there is more to this species than we first assumed." Eli felt a flicker of hope. Maybe humans were underestimated, but he knew that cleverness, teamwork, and patience could make a huge difference, even against the fiercest opponents. Milo curled up slightly, tail brushing Eli's leg, ready for the next test. As the session ended, the alien students began whispering more seriously. "How did that small creature move so fast?" one asked. "And how did it think so clearly?" Another muttered, "Perhaps humans are more dangerous than we thought." Eli smiled to himself. He knew the journey had just begun. Milo was small, but he had heart, brains, and instinct, qualities the alien predators had not expected. Walking off the stage, Eli whispered to Milo, "We're going to show them something no one saw coming. One step at a time, buddy." Milo purred in response, brushing against his leg. And in that moment, Eli realized it wasn't size or strength that made a predator. It was intelligence, courage, and a bond between a human and their companion. The academy was full of surprises, and Eli was ready to face them all. The next morning, Eli woke early in his dormitory, Milo curled up in a soft ball beside him. The cat's gentle purring filled the quiet room as Eli packed a small bag with food, water, and a few toys. Today was the real start of the Predator Showcase, and every student would present their companions in front of the whole academy. Eli had trained Milo for this moment, but doubts crept into his mind. "They're going to laugh again," he whispered. "Big, scary predators. And us?" Milo opened one green eye as if to say, "Don't worry, I got this." Walking toward the main hall, Eli noticed the alien students already assembling with their impressive creatures. The hall was alive with strange noises, growls, screeches, and the humming of wings. A massive feline with glowing stripes prowled the floor, its sharp claws tapping like tiny hammers. Another creature, a reptilian dragon-like predator, flexed its wings and hissed, sparks of electricity crackling from its scales. Eli felt a little nervous, but he held Milo in his arms. "Ready, buddy?" Milo rubbed against his chest, purring, and Eli smiled. Professor Xerak appeared at the front of the hall, his tentacles raised for attention. "Today, each student will demonstrate their companion's skills. Remember, this is not only about strength. Intelligence, strategy, and adaptability matter as much as power." The first few demonstrations were overwhelming. A student released a massive spiked predator that leapt into the air, knocking down obstacles with a single swipe. Another controlled a swarm of small but vicious creatures, each darting in perfect formation. The aliens cheered for each impressive display, and Eli felt sweat prickling his forehead. Finally, it was his turn. He took a deep breath and set Milo down on the platform. The cat blinked at the massive audience of alien students, then stretched, lazily as if saying, "Is that all? Human Eli?" Professor Xerak said, his voice calm but attentive. "Show us what your companion can do." Eli nodded. "Milo, follow my commands." The alien audience leaned forward, curious and skeptical. They expected nothing but a weak, harmless creature. Eli signaled Milo with his hand, and the cat began with a simple jump onto a platform. The aliens barely reacted. It looked normal, too simple. But then Milo's eyes flicked to a mechanical obstacle at the far end of the stage. Without hesitation, the cat darted across the floor with lightning speed. A student's huge predator tried to block Milo, but the cat leapt over it gracefully, rolling midair and landing softly. It pressed a small lever with a paw, activating a trap that sent the larger predator stumbling backward. The hall fell silent. Even the loudest alien whispers stopped. "Impossible," muttered a reptilian student, eyes wide. "That small thing outsmarted my creature?" Eli kept his voice calm. "Good job, Milo. Watch carefully. The next demonstration involved agility. A flying predator swooped down, claws extended aiming for Milo. The cat crouched waiting for the right moment. In a flash, Milo leaped sideways, sliding under the swooping predator, then dashed up a ramp and perched on a ledge out of reach. The audience gasped. They had seen power, size, and strength, but they had never seen cleverness used so quickly and effectively. Even Professor Zirak's tentacles twitched in interest. "Remarkable," he said softly. "Humans and their companions may possess qualities we underestimated." The final test came suddenly. A student with a massive wolf-like predator lunged toward Milo. The hall tensed. Everyone expected the cat to be caught immediately. But Milo didn't panic. Instead, he circled, used his small size to slip under the predator's legs, and nudged a lever that triggered a sliding platform. The wolf stumbled, lost balance, and landed harmlessly on the floor. Milo sat calmly, licking a paw as if nothing had happened. The aliens stared in disbelief. What they had dismissed as a small, ordinary creature had outsmarted their genetically engineered predators with speed, intelligence, and strategy. Whispers spread across the hall. This is impossible," one alien muttered. "How does a human companion do this, Eli?" The morning sun shone brightly over the Zalcor Institute, casting long shadows across the floating bridges and shimmering platforms. Eli walked toward the main hall, Milo trotting beside him, tail high and fur gleaming in the light. Today was the next stage of the Predator showcase, and the excitement in the air was almost tangible. The hall was already buzzing with alien students and their companions. Many of them had spent the night preparing, tuning their predators' skills for maximum impact. Some creatures sharpened claws, others flexed wings or grew tiny spikes along their scales. The sense of raw power was almost overwhelming. Eli felt a small knot of nerves. Milo, however, seemed completely calm. The cat walked beside him, eyes scanning the room, observing every movement and sound. Eli had always been impressed by Milo's instincts, but today he hoped those instincts would truly shine in front of the entire academy. Professor Zirak appeared at the front, his tentacles swaying gracefully. "Welcome," he said. "Today's stage will test not only your predator's strength but also their intelligence, adaptability, and problem-solving skills. Remember, a true predator is not only powerful, but clever." The alien students nodded, their eyes gleaming with determination. Some glanced at Eli and Milo with a mixture of amusement and doubt. He could feel their skepticism, but he ignored it. He had trained Milo for this, and he trusted the cat completely. The first demonstration began with a complex obstacle course. Massive predators leaped over walls, dodged spikes, and charged at moving targets. Most performed well, showing impressive physical power. Eli watched carefully, noting how each creature reacted. Many were strong, but their movements were predictable. Strength alone guided their actions. Finally, it was Eli and Milo's turn. He set the cat down at the starting line. Milo crouched low, ears twitching, tail swishing, ready to react. Eli gave a small hand signal, and Milo dashed forward with astonishing speed. The first obstacle was a narrow bridge over a shallow pit. A huge alien predator had struggled to cross, nearly tipping over. Milo, however, navigated it effortlessly, balancing perfectly, and moving with calm precision. Eli's heart raced with pride. Next came a swinging barrier, designed to knock slower predators off balance. Milo waited for the exact right moment, then leaped through the opening with perfect timing. The audience gasped. Even some of the toughest-looking alien students were staring in disbelief. But the final challenge was the most difficult. A mechanical predator, large and heavily armored, designed to block and overpower any competitor. It lunged at Milo, moving with frightening speed. For a moment, the cat froze, sizing up the threat. Then, without hesitation, Milo used the small lever on the side of the platform to drop a sliding barrier between him and the mechanical predator. It stumbled and fell backward, unable to recover. The hall erupted into whispers and murmurs. Aliens turned to each other, eyes wide. That cat outsmarted a machine, one insect-like student muttered. Another added, it used thinking, not power. Incredible. Professor Zyrak raised a tentacle, drawing attention to the front. Interesting, he said softly. The human's companion demonstrates that intelligence and observation can surpass brute strength. Perhaps there is more to this species than we assumed. Eli knelt beside Milo, stroking his fur. Good job, buddy. They're finally noticing us. Milo purred, brushing against his hand, eyes shining with pride. After the demonstration, Eli walked among the alien students during the break. Many were still staring at Milo with amazement. Some approached cautiously. Your cat, it's incredible, one reptilian student said, bowing slightly. How did you train it to react so quickly? Eli smiled. It's not just training. Milo can think, plan, and adapt. Humans and our companions have a strong bond. That makes us different. A few students nodded thoughtfully, their pride in their own powerful creatures fading into a mix of curiosity and respect. Even the loudest, most boastful predators now seemed slightly less intimidating. But not all reactions were positive. A few alien students whispered among themselves, clearly frustrated that their massive, dangerous predators had been outsmarted by a small cat. This isn't fair, one muttered. It's tiny. It shouldn't have done that. Eli ignored them. He knew Milo's size didn't matter. What mattered was intelligence, observation, and trust between a human and companion. Those were qualities that could not be measured by size or strength. The next challenge involved strategic coordination. Students were asked to demonstrate how their predators could work with their handlers to solve complex problems. A series of puzzles, moving platforms, and obstacle manipulations were set up. Most alien students simply commanded their beasts to smash or push their way through. They relied on power and instinct alone. Eli knelt beside Milo, whispering quietly, "Watch carefully. Timing is everything." The cat nodded. Well, not literally, but it flicked its tail and focused intently. As the challenge began, Milo moved like lightning. He pushed levers, dodged moving obstacles, and even used the mechanical predator from before to trigger a platform, solving part of the puzzle. Each movement was precise, calculated, and flawless. Eli could hardly keep up with him, but the audience was watching in awe. When Milo reached the final platform, he pressed the last lever, completing the puzzle in record time. The hall went silent. Then, slowly, alien students began clapping. First a few, then many, until a loud cheer filled the room. Even Professor Zyrak's eyes gleamed with approval. "Remarkable," he said, his voice calm but full of respect. "The human and companion demonstrate something we have long overlooked. A predator is more than strength. Bond, intelligence, and strategy define true skill." Eli knelt down, hugging Milo gently. "We did it, buddy. You showed them what we can do." Milo purred loudly, clearly proud of himself. As they left the stage, whispers and discussions followed them. Alien students were talking about humans differently now. They no longer saw Eli as a weak, fragile human. They were beginning to understand. Humans and their companions had hidden power. Power not measured by muscle or claws, but by mind, instinct, and teamwork. And Milo, the small gray cat, had proven that sometimes the unexpected can be the strongest of all. The next day at the Zalcor Institute was filled with excitement. News of Milo's performance had spread quickly. Alien students whispered in the corridors, glancing curiously at Eli and his small gray cat. Many were still skeptical, but some had begun to reconsider their first impression of humans. Eli walked toward the main hall, Milo trotting beside him confidently. The cat's fur glistened in the morning light, and his green eyes sparkled with intelligence. Eli smiled. "Today, Milo, we'll show them even more. They won't know what hit them." Milo purred in response as if he understood every word. Professor Zyrak stood at the front of the hall, tentacles raised. "Today's challenge is the strategic arena," he announced. "Students will demonstrate their predators' ability to plan, adapt, and respond to unexpected situations. This is not only a test of skill but of mind." The alien students' creatures stirred with excitement. Massive predators patted the floors, Wings flared, and eyes glowed with anticipation. Eli's stomach tightened. The creatures were intimidating, far larger and stronger than Milo, but he knew strength alone wouldn't win this challenge. Strategy and intelligence were the key. When the arena opened, the first few students released their companions. One unleashed a huge armored predator that charged blindly at moving obstacles, smashing everything in its path. Another controlled a flying predator that swooped aggressively, knocking down blocks with brute force. The audience cheered for the display of raw power. Finally, it was Eli's turn. He set Milo on the ground and took a deep breath. "Watch carefully, Milo," he whispered. "We move fast. Think faster." Milo crouched low, muscles tense, eyes scanning the arena. Eli pointed toward the first obstacle, a complex series of moving platforms. Milo leaped nimbly, landing precisely on each platform, timing his movements perfectly. He avoided the swinging barriers, calculated each step, and adjusted in real time. The audience gasped. A massive alien predator tried to block Milo, but the cat used its small size to slip under its legs and push a lever that altered the arena. The larger creature stumbled, confused and off balance. The aliens whispered in amazement. Milo's strategy was not only clever, it was unexpected. The next stage tested adaptability. Mechanical obstacles moved unpredictably, forcing predators to react quickly. Many alien students' companions struggled. Some relied too heavily on instinct, smashing or charging without thinking, while others froze when the patterns changed. Milo, however, analyzed each movement, calculating the timing perfectly. He dodged, leaped, and pressed levers to manipulate the obstacles in his favor. At one point, a mechanical predator lunged at him from the side. Milo rolled to the side, darted up a ramp, and pushed a platform that sent the mechanical attacker sliding backward. The crowd erupted into gasps and whispers. Even Professor Zirak leaned forward, tentacles twitching in fascination. "Remarkable," he said softly. "The human companion demonstrates an intelligence we have not expected. The mind and instincts working together are as powerful as strength itself." Eli knelt down beside Milo, whispering encouragement. "We're not done yet. Keep going, buddy." Milo flicked his tail, eyes focused, ready for the final stage of the arena. The last tee. The air buzzed with excitement at the Zalcor Institute. Today was the Grand Predator Challenge, the most anticipated event of the year. Students had been preparing for weeks, and the arena had been set up to test every predator's strength, skill, and intelligence. Eli felt a mix of nerves and determination as he entered the vast arena with Milo at his side. The arena was enormous, stretching over hundreds of meters. Platforms floated in the air, traps clicked and swung into place, and mechanical predators patrolled the field. The alien audience gathered in the stands, eager to see who would prove the most powerful. Many eyes turned toward Eli and his small gray cat, some filled with curiosity, others with doubt. "This is it, Milo," Eli whispered, kneeling to stroke the cat's fur. "Show them what we can do." Milo purred and rubbed against Eli's hand, ready for the challenge. Professor Zirak appeared at the center, tentacles raised to signal the start. "Welcome to the Grand Predator Challenge. Today, each student's companion must navigate the arena, facing obstacles, puzzles, and opponents. The winner will demonstrate not only power but intelligence, adaptability, and teamwork." The first students released their massive predators. A huge spiked creature charged forward, knocking down obstacles and smashing barriers. Another unleashed, a flying predator that swooped through the air, claws extended, targeting moving platforms with precision. The crowd cheered loudly for the display of brute strength. Eli waited patiently. When his turn came, he set Milo on the ground. The cat crouched, muscles tense, eyes sharp and focused. Eli whispered a small command, and Milo darted forward with astonishing speed. The first obstacle was a series of floating platforms with gaps between them. Massive predators struggled to jump, often falling or getting stuck. Milo, however, leaped gracefully from platform to platform, calculating the distance and timing perfectly. The alien audience gasped at the cat's agility. Next, a mechanical predator lunged from the side, attempting to block Milo. The cat darted under its legs, pressed a lever with its tiny paw, and sent a swinging barrier crashing down to block the attacker. The crowd was stunned. Milo was not just fast, he was clever, thinking several steps ahead. The challenge grew more difficult. Spinning blades, moving walls, and tricky puzzles appeared throughout the arena. Many alien predators relied on brute force, often getting trapped or confused. Milo adapted to every obstacle, pushing levers, jumping, and using the environment to his advantage. One massive alien predator, a horned creature with thick armor and sharp claws, spotted Milo and charged. The audience held their breath, expecting the tiny cat to be caught instantly. But Milo did something no one expected. He led the creature toward a narrow corridor, then pressed a lever that released a platform trap. The predator stumbled, fell backward, and got stuck harmlessly. The crowd erupted in cheers and astonishment. Professor Zirak's tentacles twitched. "Remarkable," he said quietly. "The human companion uses strategy and observation to overcome challenges that sheer strength cannot handle." Eli stayed close to Milo, guiding him with subtle hand signals. "Keep going, buddy, almost there." Milo responded instantly, adjusting his path, timing his leaps and anticipating every movement of the mechanical predators. The final stage of the arena was the toughest, a massive moving platform surrounded by mechanical traps and alien predators. Every other student's companion had struggled here, relying on strength alone. Milo crouched, eyes scanning the area. With a quick dash, he avoided swinging obstacles, nudged levers to disable traps, and lured one mechanical predator into a pit. Eli's heart raced. He had trained Milo for months, but seeing him navigate this complex arena flawlessly filled him with pride. Milo moved with precision, intelligence, and confidence, completing the challenge faster and more skillfully than anyone could have imagined. As Milo pressed the final lever to finish the course, the arena erupted in applause. Alien students and professors alike stared in amazement. The small gray cat had outperformed every massive, terrifying predator in the competition. Professor Zirak raised a tentacle for silence. "The human and his companion have demonstrated something extraordinary. Strength alone does not define a predator. Intelligence, strategy, and coordination are equally important. Today we have learned that even the smallest and seemingly weakest can triumph with skill and cleverness." Eli knelt beside Milo, hugging him gently. "You did it, buddy. You showed them what humans can do." Milo purred loudly, tail flicking, with satisfaction. The alien students approached cautiously, still processing what they had witnessed. Some were impressed, others humbled. "Your cat. It's incredible," said a reptilian student, bowing slightly. "It outsmarted every other predator. How did you train it?" Eli smiled. "It's not just training. Milo and I understand each other. We trust each other. That makes all the difference." A few alien students nodded thoughtfully, realizing that their approach of relying solely on size and strength was limited. They began asking Eli questions about human strategies, animal companions, and teamwork. Even the previously boastful students looked at Milo with a new respect. "I never thought a small creature could outthink our best predators," one said quietly. Eli and Milo walked back through the arena, heads held high. Today had proven something important. Humans and their companions could outsmart, adapt, and overcome challenges far beyond expectations. Strength was not everything. Cleverness, teamwork, and instinct could turn the tide in any situation. That evening, as Eli prepared Milo for rest, he whispered, "We've made them notice us, buddy. Tomorrow will be even more challenging, but I know we can handle it." Milo purred softly, curling up beside him, ready for whatever came next. The academy had learned a lesson. Never underestimate humans. Small, clever, and resourceful, they had a hidden power that no one had seen coming. And with Milo by his side, Eli knew they were unstoppable. The sun rose over the Zalcor Institute, painting the floating campus with golden light. Today was the day of the grand ceremony, where the results of the Predator Showcase would be announced. Students from across the galaxy filled the grand hall, eager to see who had truly excelled. Eli walked into the hall with Milo at his side. The small gray cat moved with confidence, tail high, eyes bright. The whispers followed them. Many alien students now looked at Eli not with doubt, but with curiosity and admiration. Some even nodded in quiet respect. Professor Zyrak stood at the center of the hall, tentacles swaying gently. "Welcome, students," he began. "The Predator Showcase has concluded. Today we have seen incredible displays of strength, skill, and intelligence. Yet one human and his companion have caught our attention in ways no one expected." The hall fell silent. Eli's heart raced. Milo brushed against his legs, purring softly. Eli knelt, stroking the cat's fur, giving him a reassuring smile. Professor Zyrak continued, "The human species is rare in our academy and often underestimated. Yet today we have witnessed the power of intelligence, strategy, and partnership. This small companion, a gray cat named Milo, has outperformed every predator, regardless of size or strength." The audience gasped. Students whispered excitedly. Many of the largest and fiercest creatures had been outsmarted by a tiny domestic cat. It was something no one had imagined. Eli felt a mixture of pride and humility. "Thank you, Professor," he said quietly. "Milo and I just did what we've trained for. We didn't expect to surprise anyone, we just worked together." Professor Zyrak raised a tentacle, silencing the murmurs. "Today we have learned an important lesson. Strength alone does not define a predator. Observation, intelligence, timing, and trust between human and companion are equally important. Humans, though small in number, demonstrate qualities that even the strongest alien species may lack." Alien students looked at Eli and Milo with newfound respect. Some approached cautiously, eager to learn. "How did you train him to react so quickly?" a reptilian student asked, bowing slightly. Eli smiled. "It's not just training. Milo and I understand each other. We watch, we learn, and we trust one another. That's what makes us effective. Size doesn't matter when you have strategy and teamwork." Even the once boastful alien students looked thoughtful. They had relied on power and intimidation, but now they realized there were different kinds of strength of mind, strategy, and bond. Professor Zyrak continued, "Let this day be remembered. Today, humans and their companions have proven that cleverness, cooperation, and adaptability can surpass brute force. Let this be an example for all students in the academy." The hall erupted in applause. Some students cheered loudly, others quietly nodded in agreement, but all eyes were on Eli and Milo. It was clear that the small human and his cat had earned the respect of an entire alien academy. Later, as the ceremony ended, Eli walked through the corridors with Milo trotting beside him. Alien students approached them one by one. "Can you teach me some of your strategies?" a bird-like student asked eagerly. "Do you have advice on working with your predator?" a reptilian student added. Eli nodded. "Of course, it's all about observation, patience, and teamwork. Watch, learn, and trust each other. That's what makes a predator more than just a creature. It makes a partner." Even some alien professors approached, intrigued by the human methods. Eli realized that Milo had not only shown everyone that humans could succeed, but had also Changer.